You're watching ABC10 Plus This Week.
Hi everyone, I'm Walt Gray. You're watching ABC10 This Week. A Stockton mother recovering after a stray dog attack on her morning walk. What her son had to say. And in dollars and cents, why experts say now is the time to review your finances and do some spring cleaning. Then we hit the back roads. John Bartel takes us aboard the Queen Mary, where Hollywood history and celebrity stories are still part of the journey.
Tonight, a mom in Stockton is recovering after her family says she was brutally attacked by a pack of stray dogs. ABC 10's Garshpal Sangha has the details on who's being credited with saving her life.
It's a routine walk many have taken on this levee near Walker Slough in Western Ranch, but for one mother, it was life-changing. What started as a normal walk quickly turned terrifying. This cell phone video shows dogs surrounding Dory Reyes as she yells for help. Her son says after this video, they attacked.
You know, she was like, there was about 7 dogs. And I'm like, 7 dogs?
Stockton police say the attack happened last Thursday near the levee by Carey Street. Dory was rushed to the hospital. Police say 2 of the dogs have since been captured. For Ronnie, the trauma and injuries are still hard to process.
It's like 150 to 200 lacerations and punctures all over her body. All over her arms, her legs, her face, her head, her neck, everywhere. They got her pretty bad. This could have been a lot worse.
It wasn't, because the Reyes family says the Good Samaritan stepped in.
Good Samaritan, her husband is afraid of, as far as I know, was afraid of dogs. But he came out there to help my mom.
He hopes no family goes through the pain they have gone through since last week. Other people on the trail say this isn't the first time packs of stray dogs have caused fear here.
I've seen 5 or 6 dogs. They almost attacked me.
Erica Navarrete was also bitten by a dog on a different trail and hopes the city can do something about it.
I'm hoping that they catch the dogs and, because there's kids out here too that ride their bicycles. Little kids, there's moms here, strollers, and, you just never know.
In a statement, Stockton Vice Mayor Jason Lee says public safety is a priority, as well as addressing the stray dog concerns as officers respond to situations that pose immediate risk, but also added, quote, "This is also a community issue. Pet overpopulation and roaming animals don't happen without a lack of responsible ownership." Lee says the city is expanding spray and neuter services and expect residents to do their part too. As Ronnie's mother recovers, he's just grateful to still have his mom.
Mother's Day is coming up. Call your mom. Tell her you love her.
Stockton police is asking the public to avoid approaching these dogs, but if you see them, to call animal services. Reporting from Stockton, Garshpal Sangha, ABC 10.
Such an alarming story, Garshpal. Thank you. The Reyes family says their mom is now at a rehab facility continuing her recovery. The family is raising funds to help with medical costs and rehabilitation. You can find a link to their fundraiser under this story on our website, abc10.com. Sacramento jury has awarded more than $32 million to the family of 2 brothers killed by a police detective in a wrongful death lawsuit. Tonight, while the verdict brings legal closure, the victim's mother says it falls far short of true justice. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias joins us in studio after speaking with the family and their attorney. Roxanne.
Laura, I first met this family a few years ago during the trial in this case, and today the victim's mother broke down in tears on the phone with me, telling me she's ready for this chapter to finally be over. While she says this settlement allows her sons to now rest in peace, she says this will never feel like justice.
In early December 2022, brothers Juan Carlos Rodriguez and Leonel Rodriguez, both fathers in their 30s, were hit and killed by a Sacramento police detective on Interstate 5. Detective Jonathan Nagel later pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of vehicular manslaughter. For nearly 4 years, their families have been living with that loss, navigating lawsuits and a long, difficult legal battle.
Well, it's been extremely difficult for the family, but it's good to finally have some closure from the legal process. It's been a long journey for them.
John Demas with the Demas Law Group represents Juan Carlos' estate. On Monday, he announced a Sacramento jury unanimously awarded a $32.1 million settlement for the wrongful death lawsuit filed on behalf of his 2 children against the city of Sacramento.
They were 6 and 10 years old. He was a union plumber, a great worker, a great man, and really just a fantastic father to 2 young children.
We reached out to the brothers' family, but they were too emotional to speak on camera. Their mother, Virginia Carranza, did share her thoughts with us over the phone. She says while she's grateful for the settlement, she does not believe justice was served. We first spoke with Carranza back in November 2023 after Detective Jonathan Nagel pleaded not guilty in court. She told us she doesn't believe there was any real punishment, pointing out the detective was not fired from the department. And she says if the roles were reversed and her sons had killed a police officer, they would likely be facing life in prison. Still, Dima says the verdict represents a form of justice because a jury heard the case and held both the city and the detective accountable.
Obviously, no verdict is ever going to bring back Carlos Rodriguez, but there's definitely a sense of vindication and closure that a jury saw the evidence, saw the relationship between the father and his children.
We reached out to the city of Sacramento for a statement, but we are waiting to hear back from them. Dimas says this is the largest verdict against the city and that it should serve as an example.
I think it sets the bar and the example for all negligent drivers, not just police officers. And when you break the rules of the road, you need to be held accountable.
Dima says because Juan Carlos's children are minors, the money will be placed in a trust and paid out over an amount of time. The Sacramento Police Department confirmed Detective Nagel is still employed, but referred us all other questions to the city of Sacramento. We are still waiting to hear back from the city right now. Laura.
All right, Roxanne, keep us posted as you learn more. Thank you. It's been nearly 5 years since a Caldor fire ripped through El Dorado, Alpine, and Amador counties. Dozens of families are still without a home, but hope towards rebuilding is now a reality. 6 families will be getting new homes this year. ABC 10's Jeannie Wynn shares with us how Grizzly Flats families have been coping and their plans for the future.
Well, we're living there now, so there's still emotions.
Living there means here, this empty plot of land where Pat Olson's home used to be in Grizzly Flats. The Caldor fire ripped through her small community in 2021.
Pat Olson's house.
This is all that's left.
It's not acceptance, that's not the right word, I guess, but maybe in my own way, I'm dealing with it a little bit more as time goes by.
Since then, she and her husband have been living on her property in this trailer.
I want to dynamite it.
Ready for change.
To rebuild a home suitable for the specific needs and dynamics of these families as they navigate the trauma that they've experienced.
Homemade Sacramento, in partnership with El Dorado County and various builders, will build and donate 6 homes to the fire victims. The county approved a $550,000 grant along with homemade fundraising, about $150,000 to go towards the rebuild. Olson and her family are one of the 6.
Disbelief. I just don't want to cry. It's overwhelming, but to me it means more than anything in the world. I want to see him live in a house again, not in that damn RV. I'm sorry, but it means a lot.
The homes will also be fire resistant to prevent another tragedy.
The siding is non-combustible, the roofing is going to be non-combustible. The foundations have insulation underneath them and around them to keep the soil from freezing and having the homes being cold. We have wood-burning fireplaces. You're not even allowed to have those in California.
A small community hoping to come back stronger together.
Just want to get us settled, and then I want to be in a position to help our community back again.
In El Dorado County, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
Such an emotional story, Jeannie. Thank you. A Stockton church is pleading for help from city leaders tonight. They say they've been dealing with a long-time homeless encampment that has caused worries, damage, and even led to crime. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras joins us live in Stockton now with a closer look. And Gabriel, you talked with church leaders today. What did they share with you?
Yeah, Laura, that church has been asking for help for years now, and tonight city leaders are telling me that there is a plan in the works for a change starting as soon as next week. Within the walls of his Anderson Street Church in Stockton, Pastor Damon Bridges is trying to open eyes.
And our mission is to restore people, restore broken, wounded, hurting, damaged people.
But in the dry slough right outside, Bridges says he's seen it all.
From shootings, we've seen murders, we've seen robberies.
And he's felt it all too.
We've had probably over 10 break-ins. The end of last year, they broke in through this window, stole, we used to have matching speakers, stole the big speaker, stole some other things over there. I can't remember what else they stole, and drug it all out through that window.
Thousands of dollars in damages, losses, and even added security to combat the homeless encampment in the Mormon Slough.
We decided, well, let's bar up the place a little bit. Let's do a little bit upscaled security. And so we've upgraded our alarm system. This is enough. We have had enough. We've talked to the city. They've given us promises.
Well, Mormon Slough has been a challenge in this community for over 12 years.
Vice Mayor Jason Lee started representing the area just last year.
I think during leadership transition back in November, December, when I first brought it to staff's attention, it fell through the cracks. But I'm happy to say that I just left a meeting where our police department, our housing department, our city manager, and our city staff at Public Works have put together a plan to start addressing the needs at the church on May 8th.
For now, Lee says that will include a cleanup while the city still works on a longer-term solution. In the meantime, Bridges says his eyes are on the mission.
We just keep trying to do what we can do. We keep praying to God, seeking God, and trying to remain faithful.
The pastor told me what he really wants to see out here is a permanent solution, and the vice mayor says he agrees with that. We're told that leaders at City Hall, the city manager, and a city homelessness committee are working on doing just that. Live in Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
Okay, still a lot of moving parts. We know you'll be tracking all of this for us, Gabriel. In the meantime, we do want to point out the nonprofit Restore the Delta is also working on a solution. They've set up a meeting May 16th to get community input. Gabriel, thank you so much. Keep us posted as you learn more. In tonight's Dollars and Cents, spring is the perfect time to reset your financial life, just like you would your home. And it starts by looking at your financial report card.
What are some helpful or effective financial practices our viewers should be implementing this time of year?
A lot of ABC10 viewers have already filed their taxes or are close to filing taxes. That generally gives an overall, what we call financial report card for people once they've got their ducks in a row as far as getting their financial and tax information into the IRS and the Franchise Tax Board.
Joseph Eshelman, president of Tower Point Wealth, says now is the time to act on your post-tax season review. Ask yourself, what can you learn about last year's finances? And do you need to adjust your withholdings or estimated payments?
And then also from more of a forward-thinking approach, with it being April now and the spring cleaning of your finances, is thinking about the front windshield, so to speak, in terms of planning for summer spending and travel. And with kids and school transitions as well, it's a great time to be thinking about all of these things.
Next, look at your reoccurring expenses. Review the last 2 or 3 months of your statements and cancel anything unused or redundant.
There's not necessarily what we call a spending problem, but they sometimes have a subscription problem.
Reset your budget. Eshelman recommends knowing your fixed versus variable expenses and use a 50-30-20 style approach. Use 50% of your budget towards your needs, such as essential living expenses, 30% for wants, like lifestyle spending, and 20% for saving, investing, and debt repayment.
A budget doesn't necessarily need to be a complicated Excel spreadsheet. It just needs to be clear. It needs to be intentional.
Common mistakes to avoid include not tracking spending, emotional or impulse spending, ignoring irregular expenses like travel or holiday spending, and lifestyle creep, which means when income goes up, spending also goes up. For more money advice, stream all of our Dollars and Cents coverage right now on the free ABC10 app. Email me your money questions at lpainter@abc10.com. Say Sacramento families making history, building the city's first permanent 3D printed home. ABC10's Carolina Estrada shows us how they're doing it right in their own backyard.
Near Skipton Court and Northborough Drive, the future is taking shape one layer at a time. A robotic printer moves back and forth, carefully pouring concrete, building what will soon become a home.
We're in our 80s, so it's time to slow down, and we're going to slow down in my daughter's backyard. So here we go.
This Sacramento family is watching history happen.
We had to mix our own concrete for the floors by hand on the ground. And so seeing the mechanics of this, the technology involved, it is so fascinating to me.
And they're helping make it too. His daughter is operating the printer herself.
Just to be able to expedite building homes, building very disaster resilient homes, both for fires, for earthquakes. There's a lot of benefits to this.
They also hope it can help lower insurance costs, especially in fire-prone California. For this family, it's about more than innovation. It's about keeping generations close together.
It gives an opportunity for adult children to have a place to stay for a while and to be able to build up equity. For my parents, for them to be close enough but to still have their own space.
As the building continues, one thing is already clear. The future of construction is here. In Sacramento, Carolina Estrada, ABC 10.
Very interesting, Carolina, thank you. Tonight, the debate over California's climate policies and how they can affect gas prices is intensifying. As state leaders debate amendments to a clean energy program known as Cap and Invest, lawmakers are split on how to move forward. ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Huh joins us now with the details. Jenny.
Laura, there are stark differences between what environmental groups and the petroleum industry want for California's clean energy future, but the differences among state leaders are louder now, too.
We all want clean energy. We all want long-term stability. But families are hurting right now. They're hurting to pay for gas, to pay for groceries.
This is Republican State Senator Suzette Martinez-Valadares. She says more in-state drilling and refining will make California energy independent. Just last week, she and the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus sent a letter to state energy leaders saying they're concerned about the unclear future of California fuel supply.
And what I understand my colleagues are asking for, pretty much asking to stay the course. And the course that we're on is not working when it comes to affordability for families.
This is about foreign wars and what ships decide to do. Do they take a turn and go back to Korea or China to sell that gasoline or come to our port? So I just want us as independent from that as possible.
And this is Democratic State Senator Henry Stern. He says that independence comes from a quicker transition to clean energy and lessening reliance on foreign oil imports. He and more than 20 other legislators also sent a letter to state energy leaders arguing speeding progress towards the 2030 emissions target of emissions 40% below 1990 levels will provide lasting relief for pain at the pump.
The problem solvers aren't wrong to be raising the alarm about all these issues.
So state leaders agree on energy independence, especially amid uncontrollable global uncertainties like the war in Iran. The disagreement is how we get there. Driving the debate is the California Air Resources Board's amendments to its Cap and Invest program, which allows polluters to pay for credit, called allowances, to continue operations and uses revenue as consumer rebates. The proposed January amendments, in part fewer permits for higher fees, sparked strong backlash from California's remaining refineries, with multiple threatening to pull out of state.
Cost goes up for industry and cost goes up for working people.
In response, CARB amended its amendment. Roughly 118 million pollution permits that were set to be eliminated would instead go to a reserve fund, which businesses could pull from if they invest in decarbonization efforts.
We must support the ability to do business in California while still delivering statutorily required emissions reductions.
Hey, if you're making the investments, we'll be there to match you to decarbonize, right? We're not going to let this stuff happen elsewhere. We want investment in this state.
The concern now over the updated amendment is prolonged reliance on fossil fuels and fears California's 2030 and zero emissions by 2045 goals won't be met.
I just worry if we change the rules of the game right in the middle of it, that's going to throw a lot of people off.
The public comment period for the new amendments has been extended to May 4th, and CARB Chair Lawrence Sanchez will be testifying during a Senate hearing next week. CARB will formally take up the proposal on May 28th. Laura.
All right, Jenny, keep us posted as you learn more. Thank you.
The suspect, who police say attacked the White House Correspondents' Dinner, is now facing federal charges, accused of attempted assassination of the president. Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. Investigators say 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen took a train from California to D.C. and was staying at the hotel, checking in on Friday. Thousands of people, including the president, vice president, and members of the administration, were in the ballroom at the Washington Hilton Saturday night when police say Allen stormed a security checkpoint. Allen did not enter a plea to the federal charges, including attempted assassination of the president of the United States.
Make no mistake, this was an attempted assassination of the president of the United States, with the defendant making clear what his intent was. And that intent was to bring down as many of the high-ranking cabinet officials as he could.
There is now an investigation into the security breach that night and possible lapses. The White House now saying that they are reviewing security protocols ahead of more upcoming high-profile events. Now, people who attended the dinner call the scene chaotic and confusing. They say that they're grateful the Secret Service prevented the gunman from getting inside that ballroom. I want to bring in ABC10's Becca Hotbegger, who actually spoke with a Sacramento area man who was there that night. She joins us right now.
Yeah, Alex, Matt Shoup is communications director and spokesperson for the California Republican Party. He also owns Praetorian Public Relations and was attending the White House Correspondents Association dinner with a client when the shooting happened.
The night of the White House Correspondents Association dinner started off exciting for Matt Shoup.
This was the most difficult thing for me to attend in my entire professional life. I've been working for 3 weeks to get a ticket.
The exclusive annual event is a who's who of Washington politics and media. The event was going well until servers started coming out with the main course.
Myself and other people thought that maybe one or two of these servers had collided or dropped their trays, and the sound that we heard was, the clattering of all the plates falling down.
What they heard was the gunshots and commotion outside the ballroom as the suspected gunman ran through security and fired his weapon. Inside the ballroom,
people started saying shots fired, gun, shooter, and everything like that. Their orders get on the ground. People kind of dived under the table. It was very chaotic. I think everybody was very confused on what was going on. There wasn't a lot of clarity because the shooter actually never made it inside the ballroom. So we didn't see or hear what happened.
I have thought for some time that Hilton in DC is a terrible place to do this. It is almost impossible to secure. You would have to buy out the entire hotel if you actually wanted it to be secure.
Eric O'Neill is a former FBI counterintelligence and counterterrorism operative. He points out the suspected gunman was a guest at the hotel who had checked in the day prior.
I don't think it would have taken too much to just get a list of everybody in the hotel before the event and maybe run some checks on the individuals. That may have actually brought some attention to the front about the shooter because it turns out that his family had turned him in a day or two earlier, or had at least called the police to say that we think that there's something going on here.
I'm familiar with the Washington Hilton. It's a big hotel. And I don't think they even thought through about the fact that there are people staying in there.
Democratic California Congresswoman Doris Matsui also expressed concerns about the venue and sadness about the violence.
I thought it was just awful. Every time something like this happens, it changes how we feel about things, and that's really unfortunate.
Still, she, O'Neill, and Shoup all praised the Secret Service for subduing the gunman.
They did not shoot at him, and instead they tackled him and restrained him. That showed an incredible amount of restraint for law enforcement and was probably the brightest success of this entire situation.
He sees this as part of a pattern of escalating political violence, especially against President Donald Trump.
I don't know if there's been a president who has had attempts on his life this many times. I think Trump might have the record.
Words have consequences, and that's the thing is there are people out there that are mentally ill or just very active that take these as marching orders. That dynamic in our country is unacceptable.
He and O'Neill say this security incident supports President Trump's efforts to build a ballroom at the White House, though critics disagree.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune used this weekend shooting to renew his calls to fund the Department of Homeland Security. He blamed Senate Democrats for blocking a package that would fund the whole of DHS as Democrats hold out for reforms to ICE. Now, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer rejected Thune's rhetoric, saying Thune should be directing his anger instead at House Speaker Mike Johnson, not Democrats. Alex?
Docked in Long Beach, there is a 90-year-old ocean liner that doesn't seem to go anywhere anymore. But somehow, it still takes you everywhere. The RMS Queen Mary, once the fastest and most glamorous way to cross the Atlantic, is now a floating time capsule packed with Hollywood history.
Celebrities, you can name them, royalties, dignitaries. I mean, everybody from Winston Churchill to JFK to Clark Gable, Cary Grant.
First Officer Danny Rangel says, back in her heyday, this ship wasn't just transportation. It was a place to see and be seen.
You rubbed elbows, and when I mean you rubbed elbows with the stars, you truly did.
And while passengers were crossing the ocean in style, they were also stepping onto something that felt a lot like a movie set.
They used to put a blank sheet in your menu so that if you met a celebrity, you could get an autograph.
No way. Mm-hmm. Turns out, it actually became a movie set. Over the years, the Queen Mary has starred in dozens of TV shows and films, like the 1972 classic The Poseidon Adventure and the classic Robert Redford baseball movie, The Natural.
And what's interesting about movie magic is Robert Redford is in a ballroom in Long Beach, and then when he exits the space through one of these doors, all of a sudden he's on Fifth Avenue in New York.
It wasn't just older films that took advantage of the Queen Mary. Modern productions film here to this day.
For Being the Ricardos, this was Lucille Ball's office. This was also used in Brooklyn Nine-Nine for a couple of scenes. This was also seen in the TV show Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula.
Danny says there's a certain magic on this ship. One minute you're in Long Beach, the next you're in Hollywood, or the 1930s New York, or out at sea.
Yeah, so if you want a period piece, you want something that's high scale, or honestly, if you're going to shoot something out on the ocean, but you don't want to have to worry about weather or waves or anything like that, why not come to an iconic vessel that just doesn't go anywhere anymore?
During World War II, the Queen Mary was a real-life action hero. Because of her speed, she was put to service moving troops across the ocean.
How fast can this thing go?
She would go, top traveling speed was 34 knots, which registers around 40 miles per hour.
That's moving for a ship this size.
For a ship that's over 1,000 feet long and weighing 80,000 plus tons, that's lightning.
The Queen Mary was moved and permanently docked in Long Beach in 1967, but her legacy still steals the scene 90 years later. Current visitors can experience what past celebrities did by spending the night in one of the ship's newly remodeled rooms or dining at all the same restaurants where A-list actors once ate.
From the Queen Mary, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads. And thank you for watching ABC 10 This Week. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Walt Gray. Take care. We'll see you next time.
And remember, the ABC 10 Weather Impact team is always here for you 24/7. Get the latest conditions anytime with our live 24/7 radar on our free TV streaming app. Just scan the QR code for easy instructions to download the ABC 10 app wherever you stream ABC 10.